right, thank you again, Linda, for doing the interview. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
And if anyone watching doesn't know Linda, you've been a lifelong horsewoman, and I think an inspiration to many. And you've had a really rich life of experiences, from the endurance riding to developing the T-Touch and traveling the world to work with horses and teach. What do you love most about horses that has kind of fueled you to do all this?
In English, right? I had to ride to school in Canada from the time I was 6 years old through the 6th grade in northern Canada, and horses were a part of my life like breathing. And I had the really good fortune to ride at a really good riding school with wonderful horses near Edmonton, Alberta. And then I just, it's been a lifelong experience. I mean, I married a man 20 years older than I who was in the last cavalry class in Norwich University, the year I was born. And so horses, from the idea that, I think, as I know it, classical idea that horses are a part of my life. And I have so much gratitude for what they bring to me, and also what the people I've known over the years have brought, this idea that we can be with the horse without dominance. And that's my whole life. I mean, I did a lot of endurance riding, but I also did a lot of benting and hunting and jumping and all of that stuff that you do with horses. But I always, and I had a school for 10 years, a 9-month residential school for riding instructors. And our whole interest was, how can we have a relationship between horse and rider where the horse enjoys it as much as the rider and is successful, and also to have relationships with other people, because in the horse world there's a lot of pressure put on people in many cases. And I just, I've always had the good fortune to have role models that really liked people and liked horses both, and so that's what keeps me inspired and keeps me going, And I think that for me, I saw someone recently, like, well, for me, I'm often asked, okay, how do I see a horse? And for me, the relationship I have is like heart to heart and cell to cell, because that's my passion, the cell, and soul to soul. And I think that we can be very effective and successful with our horses, no matter what our discipline is, if we come from that place.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's what keeps it fun, more than just going for performance.
Yeah, for me it has to be fun for the horse as it is for me.
Yeah. Has there been a turning point in your life or your work with horses, something that stands out as an important moment for you?
Yeah, I mean, a big turning point. I grew up with classical riding, classical training. I was a pony club instructor in the 50s and had the good fortune to work with some of the original cavalry officers in the U.S. Unfortunately, we don't have them anymore. And the turning point for me was, first of all, doing the Feldenkrais work. Well, first, the big turning point was when my grandfather came to us in 1960. I'd never met him before because he was a racehorse trainer. And he brought us a form of massage that helped horses recover faster after hard work.
You may hear some loud German in the background. We had to duck away in a corner at the expo.
And I did that massage, and we actually worked with our horses for recovery from horse shows, from events, for 100-mile endurance riding, and it was very successful. But it didn't affect the personality of the horse. And in 1975, I started a 4-year training at the Humanistic Psychology Institute with Dr. Moshe Feldenkrais. And I did it for my riding students, thinking it would improve their athletic ability. But in the second day of the training, I realized, whoa, this I can adapt for horses. This idea that through non-habitual movements of moving a horse instead of from the back on the ground, in a way that they will be more interested in learning and have ability more to learn. And so that was a start for me, and I did that for 8 years very successfully with people and with horses. And then in 1983, that was the big turning point, the next big milestone in my life, because I was working at a veterinary center, the Delaware Veterinary Center. I was giving a clinic, a weekend clinic. They had a mare that they couldn't figure out what was wrong with her. And remember, in 1983, there was, well, you don't remember, but you wouldn't know, but in that time, horses were only x-rayed from the knees and hocks down. There was no checking of the back, the neck, the hindquarters, nothing. I mean, what we have available for horses now, it's unbelievable. But then there was nothing. So they asked me, why does this mare try to bite or kick when she's groomed, when she's saddled? What's wrong? Because they couldn't figure it out. And when I put my hands on her very quietly with his work, what she did was get really quiet. And the owner said, okay, like, what's your secret? Are you using some kind of energy, or why is this mare so quiet when you touch her? And I said, don't worry what I'm doing. It takes years to learn this Feldenkrais work. It's wonderful, but it takes years. Just put your hand on the shoulder and move the skin in a circle. And she did that. And when I said that, I thought, okay, what does that mean? Because that's not part of the Feldenkrais work. So she just went up and did this movement, and the horse got as quiet for her as she was for me. And I thought, that's amazing. I'm going to start following the circle. And that's when we did, and then, you know, we've done all kinds of research over the years now that we show that actually we activate the communication between the cells. And between us and the horse. And between me and my body with this idea. So that's the turning point for me. It's the passion that I've followed the trail of the cells. And how can we develop this trust? And you know, it's called Tellington T-Touch, and the second T stands for trust. And that's what we get when we work on the body in a way that the horse likes it. Not when they're trying to kick or bite us because it's too hard or it hurts. No, that's not it.
It's fascinating. It's very fascinating work.
And horses love it, and so do their people. And the thing that also keeps me really passionate, I know that when I move the skin on a horse in a circle and a quarter, that what that does is activate both sides of my brain. We've done much research on this, and also it puts me in a place of heart coherence. And that's why my last book is called Dressage with Body, Mind, and Soul. And when I was asked to write that book, I said, no. The world does not need another book on dressage. And then they said, you have to do it because, you know, Klaus Balkenhol writes about you. And so I did, but what I wrote about was what we as humans, what we have to do to get our horses to want to be with us, by learning more about ourselves, by being grounded, by paying attention to our breathing, by coming from a place of gratitude. And, you know, that attitude of gratitude really makes a horse want to be with you. And that's why I'm here. This is my 19th Equitana. I started 43 years ago here in Germany. And I'll be back, as they say, God willing, and if the creeks don't rise. I'll be back in 2 years, though.
I love that. It's just like the approach to life. You know, is the best approach to horsemanship.
My whole attitude is practice seeing a half-empty glass as half full, and making a practice to count my blessings every day, no matter what's going on. And that really changes my life.
Well, that's fabulous advice. Thank you again for taking the time out.
You're welcome.
And it was a pleasure to meet you here.
Well, thank you. And good luck with your work that you do.
Thank you.